Oh, hello there. Today we're continuing with this Q&A kind of get to know me series, which I'm sure you're all like super interested in. But today is mostly about plants, which it seems most of you are interested in, which is great because I am really interested in plants as well. So let's just jump right into these questions. Question number 1, what plant tubers do you watch? I watch a lot of plant tubers. I watch like all of the big ones, but my favorites are probably Betsy Begonia, who is super hilarious. She's so funny, and I really like Crazy Plant Guy. He's from Toronto, which is pretty close to where I live, and he has this string of hearts that is really nice. I mean, he's got a lot of really nice plants, but his string of hearts is like the nicest. I also watch Garden Answer, although she's more about like outdoor plants and kind of like outdoor living and stuff rather than indoor plants. Still though, she has an amazing property, and I just like watching her. I have no idea what she's talking about because it's all outdoor plants, but I just like watching her walk around and talk about her property, and I just like sit there in awe at like how beautiful it is. I also watch a lot of Everything Plants and The Green Alchemist, and I'll post links to all these YouTubers down below in the description. And of course, I watch Summer Rain Oaks because like she's the queen of indoor plants, so of course I'm gonna watch her. Okay, so question number 2 is, which easy care plant do you always kill? Aloe vera. People that I know who don't even have plants have aloe veras and keep them alive, and I have killed every single aloe vera that I've had. I don't know why. I've just killed them all. I had 3 separate aloe vera plants last summer. All 3 died. So they're not easy care. They're an incredibly difficult to care for plant, at least if you're me. Question number 3, what is the rarest plant in your collection? So I think plant rarity kind of depends on location, really. What might be rare in some places might be super common somewhere else. And I think that might be my case because like I've got a Monstera, I've got like some rare Hoyas, but for the most part I've seen a lot of them. So I'm kind of basing rarity on plants that I have that I don't often see in the nursery. So if we're going in order from least rare to most rare, I would say the least rare of my rarest plants is this whalefin sansevieria. I've seen a lot of the variegated kind with the yellow stripes along the side, but I don't really like that one. Sansevierias are like my favorite plant, but the ones with the stripes, the yellow stripes in them, I just think they're ugly, which is weird because I think they're one of the most beautiful plants. But when they got a yellow stripe on them, I'm like, no thanks. And then the second like rarest plant that I have that it's really hard to find in my area for some reason is this variegated string of hearts. It's just a little one. I got this cutting in a trade that I did back in November, so almost a year ago. And it's grown a little bit. It's actually grown a whole lot in the last few months. I had this originally trailing, and it was one cutting, one vine, and I chopped it up and put it all kind of in the top, and now it's growing all of these vines outward. So I'm very happy with it. I have it in a very right place, and yeah, I have a really nice normal string of hearts, so I'm excited to see this one become as big and as flowing as that one. And the rarest plant, I mean, it's not really rare. In some places, people buy this as like an annual and put it in their garden, but I've never seen it, and I've only seen 2, and I haven't seen any since, and it is this snowbush. And the only 2 that I saw, my sister got one and I got one, and she killed hers. I've found that these snowbushes need incredible water. I water mine every 2 days. That's how much water that it needs to stay alive. And hers was just crisped right up. It was not a pretty sight. But yeah, so this isn't really like a rare plant, but it's probably the rarest in my collection, just because I have never seen one of these, and I haven't seen one since. Question number 4, what are the top plants on your wish list? So I've got a little list here. Tamaya begonia maculata. I'm not really a big begonia guy, but something about those, they're really beautiful. It's the leaves or something. I really want one of those. Peperomia ruby cascade. I have some peperomias. You guys have seen my peperomia hope. I have an obtusifolia, and I also have a string of turtles, but I haven't been able to find the ruby cascades yet, which is unfortunate because they're really nice. And also black gold philodendron. I really would like one of those. I have never seen one of those in stores or anything. Yeah, they're really cool. Question number 5, what is your favorite plant? I kind of answered that in the last Q&A video that I did, the general Q&A, but there are quite a few. So if I'm just going to narrow it down, I'm going to say that this whale fin is my favorite. It's just so big and flat. Look at that. I like it. Question number 7, what is one plant in your collection that you don't really like? This one. This is a red maranta that I've had for, I think, a year now. I just think it's really ugly. Like, the leaves are cool and everything, but the way that it grows, it kind of just throws its new growth everywhere, and I just think it's really ugly. I like my plants to be nice and contained and symmetrical, and this one just isn't any of that. So yeah, that's my least favorite plant in my collection. I totally missed question number 6. So question number 6, what is the last plant to join your collection? And that is this guy right here. It's a Venus flytrap. I got one of these because it's summer and there's flies flying around and there's gnats kind of everywhere, even though everything is dry, so I don't know where they're coming from. So I got one of these. I should have got a butterwort, but I can't find a butterwort anywhere. So I got one of these, and actually it's doing a pretty good job. My buddy Peter and I fed it a fly a few nights ago, and yeah, it's actually caught a whole bunch of other stuff, so it's doing its job. Apparently they're kind of difficult to look after, so I'm not sure how long this will last, to be honest. Question number 8, how did you get into houseplants? So I've always kind of had houseplants. I've always had a spider plant or an orchid kind of like in my room just chilling and stuff. My mom is really big into plants. She went to school to be a horticulturalist, and she's really into outdoor houseplants and outdoor design and stuff like that. And we've always had houseplants kind of because of that. Nothing too crazy or anything. But then I would say about 2 years ago, I bought a couple more plants, and I really liked it. And then I started watching PlantTube and looking up plant hashtags on Instagram, and I just became obsessed with indoor houseplants. I was also like going through a breakup at the time, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I ended up just like diving into houseplants and looking after houseplants, and now I'm like I'm obsessed with them. And it's kind of weird because looking back, I feel like I've only really had this huge collection for 2 years or something like that, but it feels like I have been a houseplant addict my whole life and just like didn't know it. So does that answer how I got into houseplants? I don't know. Question number 9, how many houseplants are in your collection? I just counted them, and not including propagations or cuttings that I'm working on, I have 90 plants. Don't tell my parents. It's a good number. It could be higher. It could be higher. Question number 10, what are some of your other hobbies? So I write, I do a lot of art, I photograph, I paint, I do a lot of digital drawing, I play a lot of board games. As you guys know, I'm working on a board game with my team H&H Games called Season of Heroes, and the links to all that are down below, as they always are. I like some video games like World of Warcraft. I'm really into Animal Crossing right now. And I like hiking and like being out in nature and stuff like that. I used to like working out, but the gyms have been closed since March, so I have not worked out this whole time. Question number 11, what is your most dramatic plant? Again, it's gonna have to just be this snow bush. This is the most dramatic plant that I have, only because it needs so much water. I have to water it every 2 days or else the whole thing droops and leaves start falling off and it just like cries out for water. So this is definitely the most dramatic plant that I have, but it's okay because it's also one of my favorites. Question number 12, what plant shows do you like? Are there plant shows? Actually, there's this show on Netflix, and Monty Don is the host of it. If you don't know who Monty Don is, what are you doing? Go look up Monty Don. He's like an outdoor plant guy. He's an English gardener, and he's like the king of gardening. He's got a whole bunch of documentaries as well where he goes around to different gardens, famous gardens all over the world, and he talks about them. And they're some of the best documentaries that I've ever seen. I could just sit and watch them and listen to Monty Don talk like all day long. But anyway, Small Spaces, Big Ideas is like this British show where people with small gardens or small areas kind of get Monty Don's help to change their gardens up, or actually just dive into gardening, especially if they have never done it before. So it's really interesting, and you get to see just how gardening can help people, and I really like that. Question number 13, are you an orchid collector? No. I saw somewhere that like orchid collectors are kind of on a next level of plant collection, and they're kind of like, you know, they're the weird out there people. I'm not an orchid collector. I have 2 orchids. They're just, you know, basic orchids that I got at the grocery store. That being said, I would really like a jewel orchid at some point. I just don't really know where to get one of those. Question number 14, what non-plant YouTubers do you watch? So I watch a lot of Taliesin and Evitel. I'm a huge World of Warcraft fan, and Taliesin and Evitel are really my like go-to WoW YouTubers, I guess. I watch a lot of Bellular as well. Bellular is always putting out World of Warcraft videos. Signs of Kalani too is really good. His voice is really soothing. I just find it really soothing when he talks. Watch a lot of, and I don't know how to say his last name, Steve Shives. He's like a Star Trek YouTuber, so if you're into Star Trek, you should check them out. I'll post links to all these people down below as well. And for like vlogging or like lifestyle kind of stuff, I watch a lot of Matt and Blue, who are a gay couple who live in the States somewhere, and PJ and Thomas, who are another gay couple who live in Tennessee. Question number 15, are there any good nurseries near you? There are, actually. I live in Durham region, which is kind of east of Toronto, and there's a couple good nurseries in the area. There's like Sheridan, which is like a big name nursery, but there's also Vandermeer, which is a like family-run business, which is probably one of the best nurseries in the area. There's also Van Bell's, which is pretty close to where I live, and if you're willing to travel a little closer to Toronto, there's this one called Valley View, which is really great, and there's a little one called Kim's Nursery, I believe, that's sort of in the same area, and they kind of have specialty plants. They have a lot of cool orchids and bonsai and stuff like that. So there's quite a few nurseries kind of around me that's fun to check out. So if you live in the Durham region area or like the greater Toronto area, definitely check them all out because they're really great. Question number 16, what does your watering can look like? Like this. It's just a metal watering can. I actually want to get a few more of these. My other watering cans are all like plastic, gross, generic things, and that one actually pours really nicely and holds water really nicely. Is that like a weird thing to have like a preference of a watering can? I don't know. Question number 17, what are you propagating? A lot of things. I have propagation videos that I post up every couple of Fridays, so if you're curious to see what I'm propagating, you can look through some of my videos for those. People seem to really like them. We've been following sort of the propagation of some pink princess cuttings that I took quite a while ago, and we're almost ready to pot those up. Question number 18, what is your favorite pot and where did you get it? That'd be this one. So most of my plants right now are in terracotta. I've been trying to move them all either into terracotta pots just to help with my overwatering hand. If not, they're in nursery pots that are in all white pots because I'm trying to move everything to either be terracotta or white, but this is my favorite pot right here. It's this really tall gray concrete pot that I have a Sansevieria black coral in, which you can see behind me right over there. But yeah, most of my stuff right now are in terracotta, and I'm actually planning on customizing some of my terracotta by doing clay reliefs and then gluing them or baking them onto the terracotta. So that's going to be super interesting. I think I'm going to post a video about that when I finally jump into that and see if it works. I'm actually thinking about selling those on Instagram, like in my area. I don't know if people will be interested in that, but I just think it'd be super cool to have like customized terracotta with like a relief of maybe a bee or sculptural carving on it. Yeah, I just think that would be cool. Question number 19, what plants do you recommend for newbies? I recommend pothos, sansevieria, ZZ plants, although when I was a newbie I had a ZZ plant and I drowned it. I killed it like so fast. You know, aside from some more difficult plants, really any plant is good for a newbie. You can just kind of really get any plant that you want, and it doesn't take much to like Google it and see what it needs or how to keep a plant healthy and happy and stuff. You know, if you're someone who wants to have a houseplant without really caring for it, there's definitely like Sansevieria or pothos or something like that that can handle some abuse. But if you are new to plant collecting and you just want to like dive in and get some plants and see if you can keep them alive, then just kind of get whatever you think is pretty, whatever you see that you like, and you'll learn how to take care of it and how to look after it, and then you won't be a plant newbie anymore, I guess. And question number 20 is, what is the oldest plant in your collection? So there's kind of two answers to that. This plant is a just regular Sansevieria xylonica, and it is actually the first plant that I ever purchased. And I've had this for maybe 5 or 6 years now. For a long time it was the only plant that I had. And it started off as just like a couple leaves, and it's become this big huge plant. I've taken cuttings from it. I propagated from it before as well, but I almost killed it this summer. I put it outside, and when I did that, I was like, oh, you're going to be outside in the sun, so I should give you a good drink, because like Sansevierias don't need a lot of water, but I thought I might as well give it a good soaking because I thought the water would evaporate, but it didn't, and I nearly killed, I think, 3 of my Sansevierias by doing that. You can see it still hasn't recovered right here. I'm gonna lose, I think I might lose this leaf in another one. Yeah, so it'll come back though. It's survived a lot of abuse over the years. The other kind of my like oldest plant, I don't really know if it counts, but it's this one. It's just a regular Hoya carnosa. It was my first Hoya, but it came from cuttings. So if you can see like this leaf right here, and there's another one right there, those are cuttings from a Hoya that belonged to my great-grandmother and has been alive since, we don't even know how long it's been alive. So this plant itself isn't really the oldest plant that I have, but it came from a plant that was super old. And it kind of sparked my love for Hoyas. When I first got these Hoya cuttings, I had them for a full year and they didn't do anything. And for a long time I thought they were gonna die or like nothing was gonna happen. I thought I would have to throw them out. Every couple of months I'd be like, I don't know, maybe I should just throw them out. They're not really doing anything. They're not putting out any new growth. And then last summer, it started to grow a new vine, a new leaf, and now look at it. Now it looks pretty great. So there's that one too. And that brings us to the end of my plant tube Q&A. But I want to hear from you guys as well. So I have a couple questions and I want you to answer them in the comments below. The first question that I want to ask is, what is your favorite plant? Or what are some of your favorite plants? Because I know it's hard to just narrow that down into just like one plant. And the second question is, what are you currently propagating if you are propagating anything? And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks again for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for similar content. On Mondays, I post videos about houseplants. And on Fridays, I also post videos about houseplants. And reading, writing, photography, art, and any other generic interests of mine. As always, you can find my social media links in the description below. Also, you can find links to H&H Games, the board game company I've helped create, and our debut board game, Season of Heroes. You can also find the Amazon links to my fantasy series, A Chronicle of Crowns. Thanks for watching, bye!